Welcome everyone to Lead the Standard episode 27, Audits Pass, Culture Lasts. I am Kelly Taylor and I'm here today as always with the lovely Jackie Stapleton. Now, Jackie has seen firsthand how strong culture impacts everything from daily operations, long-term success, and today she's going to be expanding on our LTS newsletter number 74, which shows you how you can, you can find the link to that in our show notes. And that edition and today's episode will take you on a bit of a journey that goes beyond just the checklists and the standards. We're going to be talking about building a quality culture that truly lasts. So, hello, Jackie.
Hello, how are you? You're still here.
We're still here. Today is going to be a fun one. Creating this kind of culture, I suppose, as we know, can transform a workplace in many powerful ways. And studies have shown that companies with a strong quality culture do save millions by avoiding costly mistakes, delays, and having to redo work. But there is a catch, and culture isn't something that you can just implement overnight. It is built through specific and intentional actions. Now, Jackie, you're going to be breaking down the 6 key activities that make quality culture real, from defining cultural indicators, setting measurable targets, creating visual dashboards and creating a visual dashboard that tracks progress. So I guess let's start by hearing your thoughts on why building a strong quality culture is so important in today's world.
Yeah, it is a real driver, and I think I'll go back to something you mentioned. It's not something you can implement overnight, and I guess even like the system side of it, putting culture aside, that can't be built overnight either. But the difference is it's more tangible. So the goal or the key with culture is to try and make it tangible. So you do understand what your baseline is, understand what your future focus is for the culture, the quality culture, and then implement some actions to move you towards that future focus. But it is a tricky one because, initially it's sort of our opinions and our feelings, I guess. But there are ways of capturing that and measuring it, which is, all in line with a quality management system anyway. But you also mentioned about, it saves companies millions. And I did mention was it LTS number 74 that we're talking
74.
about?
Yep.
Yeah. And as you know, when I write the newsletters, I always try and find something to back up what Jackie thinks, just so it's not my opinion. And when you do have a look, if you have a look at that Lead the Standard newsletter, you'll see that I found in HBR, and you all know I love HBR articles, so Harvard Business Review. They're my favorite thing to read, and they really align well with us in the business world. Doesn't have to be, everything relates to quality. My whole life relates to quality. But I did find an article in there, or a study that talked about companies that have a solid quality culture actually save around $350 million a year. So the source of that is in the Lead the Standard article, if you want to understand it a bit more. But as you mentioned, Kelly, in this article, they refer to what they call cost of poor quality. It's sort of that false economy, isn't it? And I always think, and I know I always quote this, it's like the whole, you know what I'm going to say, aren't you? It's all about the wheel. It's like, oh no, let's keep pushing the cart up the hill with the square wheel because we don't have time to put the round wheel on. It's just this closed mindset. And look, sometimes and we experience that here. Sometimes we're restricted by resources as well. But hey, guess what? Resources are something that should be considered as part of your system. You need sufficient resources to be able to move forward. So it's all interrelated. So, you know, if you're fixing the same mistakes over and over again, why? You need to stop and look at, well, what's happening? How do we stop this from happening? Okay. If you can see improvements, streamlining is massive. You know, to ensure that, one, you're still giving that same experience and same quality of product, but how can we do it more streamlined with less effort? All right. And because then that in itself will impact the product, the service, and ultimately the customer as well. All right. So there is some statistics out there that back up this whole, okay, you know, is quality culture really a thing? Does it matter? Okay. So it is really a quality mindset. So the short answer, as you always want me to say, because I tend to ramble, I suppose I can say, like, it is important to acknowledge that building a culture of quality isn't a simple tick and flick task. We need to move away from that. So it's not like implementing procedures or getting your certification. This whole cultural aspect and change is very subjective. It's not tangible. So sometimes that makes it difficult to measure and see where we were at and where we've headed and where we're going and what we want to achieve. So that measurable element. But there are ways of doing it. It's not impossible. Okay. So we need to break down the concept of this quality culture then into specific observable behavior. So you see that's these soft skills, and then get some measurable outcomes. So we can turn this abstract thing into something concrete and achievable. So we can do this with 6 key activities that make quality culture tangible, and that's what I've created in the quality culture development cycle that we're going to break down. The 6 elements are: define your cultural indicators, establish quantifiable metrics, conduct regular assessments, set clear targets, link to business outcomes, and create a cultural dashboard. So those 6 elements create this quality culture development cycle. Okay, Kelly's showing it up on the screen if you're watching it now, or it will be in the Leader Standard article as well. So you can see how it all works together. Informs, guides, drives, visualizes. It's like a continual improvement cycle, essentially. Does that help, Kelly?
I think it does. I think there's a few elements there around, being realistic. To quote a famous hair brand, it won't happen overnight, but it will happen. And I think you're right. It does seem quite abstract and airy-fairy and all of those sorts of things. People talk about the culture of a business a lot, but it can be, as you said, measurable. And I like that we've kind of gone down that SMART goals philosophy, but made it about behaviors. So, and I think this is really well timed I know we're going through a resource adjustment, I guess, and understanding what our resources are and how that impacts culture, which you've touched on. So absolutely. I know this is important to us, and coming into the new year, I'm sure it is for others as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting a bit deeper in this one.
Absolutely. And I think, you explained it well, actually, because it is this quality culture cycle that I pulled together. It helps my brain, and your brain's very similar. I need some structure around things. things that are airy-fairy, behavioural, and it's not tangible, I struggle with. So I've had to figure out, well, how can I make it somewhat tangible so we can measure how we're doing? Otherwise, we're not, and this is going back to a quality principle, we can't make decisions based on fact. It's just all feelings. Okay, and really the feelings are the ones that we're possibly triggered by more, or remember more, or the person that's yelling the loudest at us, and it's not necessarily the majority. Okay, so this does help us systems focused people to put some sort of structure around it. So that was a good pickup.
I might jump. Look, I am just going to jump ahead really quickly. I've got the up here on my side. One of the things here, we'll get into it in a bit more into step 4, but by looking at this with those tangible guidelines, it doesn't just help the business. It will, and the individual. It's really important that we are giving our team clear guidelines, and that if you haven't given them that clear guideline or that clear boundary, that clear expectation, then you're already on the back foot towards a good, positive quality culture.
True, absolutely. And that's where that your communication, that engagement, and we'll cover all of that. They pop up throughout these 6 elements. Okay, will we cover the first one then?
Let's go.
Yeah. So the first activity that's important to the quality culture development cycle is defining these cultural indicators. So identify specific behaviors that represent your ideal quality culture. So I talked about future focus before. What is ideal? Okay, so identify those. So it could be employees proactively reporting potential quality issues, or cross-functional teams collaborating on quality improvements. I love that cross-functional option. Or transparent sharing of quality performance across departments. So when I see those 3, I'm picturing this business that people are passionate and really enjoy what they're doing, and their interest is for the benefit of the business, for the benefit of the customers that they're producing their products and services for. It's exciting. Yeah, so that was only 3 examples. There's many, many more, but it is about, what do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Okay, you might do some research and, have a look at businesses that have a great, not just quality culture, but organizational culture. It's all intertwined. It's the same thing. The organizational culture can be also integrated with a quality culture. So you might want to do some research on businesses that are known for their great organizational culture, and see what their indicators are. And if that resonates with you, then okay, that's what my ideal quality culture is about.
This is, again, something that we're doing at the moment. We've just redefined, we're looking at our 2025 strategy and how we're measuring our goals and all those sorts of things. And we have taken that quality focus in our business, and it's around the quality of the service we provide people. It's not about, we've got X number of enrollments in the bank. It's, okay, how many, what is our customer satisfaction rating? How quickly are we getting back to our customers? What's the feedback we're getting from our customers? We're encouraging our team to find out that information so that they can get that positive feedback, not just from us, but from their customers. And if they don't get positive feedback, how they can use that to turn that around and make it a positive. What can we learn from that? Encouraging the team to seek out those, I don't know what's the word I'm after, There's opportunities, I guess.
Opportunities, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you say that though, and you say, oh, encourage the team to do it. But if their heart's not in it, if they feel,
Well,
oh, this is crap, I don't like what I'm doing, nobody cares what I'm doing, then they're not there. And this is through experience. Many years ago, I was the operations officer for a communications company. And the owner of the business was just horrible. And the IT guy was a nightmare. I think I was emotionally scarred from him. I probably still am if I saw him. He was the most horrible man I've ever had to deal with. It made me feel stupid, didn't want to help me. I felt on my own. The owner of the business did not give two craps about the customer, and I was left dealing with it. And you know what happened after a while? Guess what I did? I didn't give a crap either. Like I was thinking, you need to stop caring, Jackie, because that's naturally what I do. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Nobody's looking after me, who's dealing with our customers that are not happy because of the decisions you're making based on money only, which obviously will impact the business anyway if the customers aren't happy. And my whole attitude was, this is absolute rubbish. And yeah, I checked out, basically. I just checked out. I obviously left there because you can only do that for so long, the emotional impact. So it's that supportive culture. I needed someone to have my back and support me, and I did not have it, not even from the owner of the business.
Yeah, and which is good, because I was heading that way, but you took it the opposite direction to what I was going, because our team is passionate about their brand. They do love what they're doing. They are open to that. And you're right, the exact opposite there. And we've seen that before with past ATOL employees, when they're not loving what they're doing, that you see that drop. And look, you've just outgrown whatever it is, but you're right, need to have that open environment where people can say, I'm not happy, I'm not supported, I'm not doing okay, I need a cry, I need a laugh. You need to create that. Actually, when we were in Sydney recently, there was a really good talk, and I wish I could remember who it was by, about being a vulnerable leader. And if you are the leader, let your team know, yeah, I'm human. I'm not having a great day. I'm not Superman, Superwoman. It's okay to have this moment. I have them. You can have them. Let's support each other through that. So, yeah, I feel like this cultural indicators has got, as you said, I've just looked at your list and we haven't even covered a quarter of it.
No, and obviously, yeah. It's a huge list, but I only added it there just in case. But, we're coming up with some our own personal examples.
I have just seen the very last one on that list, which is, you have here is a right first time mindset. Now, I'm going to, from personal experience, this is a really hard one to break, especially if you're a perfectionist or you really, well, a lot of people are really passionate and value what they do, but it's okay to not get it right the first time. As long as you learn from that and you have that, that culture of learning and that culture of sharing and supportiveness, there's always a version 2, 3, 4, 4.1. You can always go back and change it.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because that right first time mindset is actually about getting it right the first time and not doing rework. So I suppose it depends on what your product is, because and we talk about that because ours is a service. Okay.
True.
So with a service, we have a version 1, and look, It doesn't mean it's still meeting the criteria. It's still giving the students what they need as their outcomes, but we can see how we can make it cooler or more interactive or provide more additional resources. And that's where we always go, oh no, that's version 2. We need to get this out because our students need this. It's meeting all of the requirements, the customer requirements as it is. We know we can do better, but you'll never get it out. You'll never release it if you wait until you add all the other stuff. Yeah. Okay,
if remember that. Probably a good idea to go with your first interpretation.
Yeah, but I think that's okay for us. But if it's a product, if we're building a bridge, it's got to be right. If we're selling nuts and bolts and, or torque wrenches or things that measure, it's got to be right because the risk to the customer is high. So that right first time mindset, I think, is very product focused. And I know your mindset, is because we're service based. But I think they're both relevant. Absolutely, both relevant because the saying another saying that Jackie says all the time is if you're not embarrassed of your first product, you launch too late.
Yeah.
So it's and that's always in hindsight. Like it's great when you first release it, but then okay, I can do better.
Yeah.
So that's a behavior. That's a quality behavior. Okay, you happy with that then?
I am. But it does show that there's that quality does cover so many different ways, and there are so many different interpretations.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's move on.
The second activity that's important to the quality culture development cycle is to establish quantifiable metrics. So creating metrics that reflect these cultural indicators that you set or want to achieve in the first step. So this could include what's the number of employee-initiated quality improvements per month, or what's the percentage of employees who can articulate how their role impacts quality. So how many employees have completed quality training programs? So you can see the difference here is that I'm putting a number and a timeline on it. So this leads on from the first one of defining those cultural indicators. So first we need to understand what are they, and then some sort of metrics. And you'll see these align for you lovely quality people out there. These align with objectives. So, I'm not coming up with anything new here. So this is clause 6.2, but I'm using the tools in 9001 to support the cultural element instead. And it's all going to integrate with your system anyway. So the tangible thing. So it'll integrate with your tangible system, but now it's more about behavior and they will feed off each other. Does that make sense, Kelly?
Absolutely. And as you're doing that, I'm thinking, there's another KPI/objective I can include in ours, which is a little bit of a concern. But this again goes back to what I was saying before. We have our customer satisfaction surveys that go out through communication. So that's one measure that we have. I've got on screen here employee engagement scores on quality related survey questions. We do a pulse survey quite regularly and fully anonymous, but the team members are able to let us know, actually I am feeling this, that, the other. I am seeing this, that, the other. The adding things to the quality improvement progress. Like we encourage our team to add things to the improvement register over and above the students' feedback. We've got a couple of people on
that's
going on the team goals.
I don't know what the numbers are. I know I put lots on there, but that's actually probably something to take a look at, Kelly, is who else is putting stuff in there? Is everyone? Because surely everyone sees improvements.
Well, that's where I was going. We've got a couple of team members on leave at the moment. We're picking up, obviously, some people are stepping into their role to support them. Those of us that are still here at the moment, we had a couple of aha moments last week and actually went, well, we're missing this and this is unclear.
Mm-hmm.
We've created a whole new process around that, but Jackie and I, we have always, if one of us is covering the other person, create a whole new project. These are the things I couldn't do while you were away, or this took me too long, or this confused me, or do I really need to do this while you are away?
That's right. Why is it like this?
Yeah, that curiosity. So
absolutely.
We've really been trying to drive that into the team members that are still here this week, and we'll have that conversation with the others when they get back as well about how this will roll out. But we've already seen one of them has a whole Word doc. I'm like, share that with me. That's gold. So encouraging the team to get excited. As I said, it really is an opportunity, and again, that comes down to that culture. You need to get people excited.
Well, it's participation, isn't it? It's getting
ownership.
themselves involved, some ownership. And look, honestly, we can't rely on, our team members to just do that. As leaders, we need to show that's accepted behaviour.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of employees might think they're overstepping the mark.
Yeah.
So we need to, as leaders, we need to encourage it. So, when they do come up with something, acknowledge, oh, man, that's great. I never thought of that. Because it's exactly right. We can't think of everything.
No, thank God.
No. So that's why I thought, I wonder who else puts stuff on the improvement register. That might be a good stat. Who contributes the most?
Our students, hopefully, no. But
that's another thing. But internally, because we're talking about internal culture.
There was a question that came through to me yesterday, again on that same thing, filling in for somebody else, and I've stumbled across this. I've not done it before. I know that the normal process is this, but this is a little bit different. And it's not the first time I've experienced this process, but that's not my role anymore. And my question back was, well, have you found a procedure or an additional step? And if not, congratulations, you've just found an improvement opportunity.
That's right. Thank you.
That was the response I got back. Oh my God, thank you. I didn't think about that. Like, not that they didn't think about looking for another procedure. It was, I can make something better. And they got excited because they were contributing and making something better. And that's how you encourage that culture.
I was going to say, as leaders, we have to encourage that. So it's still a two-way street because some people are not comfortable doing it. We can't just expect them to do it. We need to let them know it's okay.
And I think the important word that you've used there too is encourage. Don't force people to do it because you're right, some people are uncomfortable, but don't make it a chore. Don't make it you have to do this. This is everything you think of has to go on there. Don't make it about, I don't know, you really do have to make it a positive and encourage and support people to do it. Don't necessarily do it for them, but just kind of plant those seeds.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing. Don't do it for them. Yeah, let them learn and make mistakes, sort of like what you were saying earlier. It's okay as long as, the world's not going to end or, people are still safe. So, let them move forward with it. But I like that story. It's like, so I do think, it may not come naturally to some people. And whoever you were talking about then, they had identified a gap, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So There's 6 points here, obviously. This is the halfway point. So far we've defined the indicators, the cultural indicators. We've going to establish some metrics, so, measurable metrics based on those indicators or future focus on the culture. And of course, the third activity that's important to this quality culture cycle is to then conduct regular reviews or assessments. So you can use surveys, interviews, like observational checks as well, check-ins, and you gauge the current state of your quality culture, and then you track these changes over time. So you've got a starting point of where you're at because you figured out, well, what are these metrics? Okay. Then you've got your future focus, so your quality indicators. These assessments or reviews or check-ins, call it what you want, are just about, well, what's our current state? Okay, where are we at now? Are we heading in the right direction or are we going backwards? Are we trying too hard? So these could be surveys. As Kelly said, we do pulse surveys, anonymous pulse surveys. There is a scale called Likert scale. It's all about, it's like a 5-point scale. Google it and have a look at that. It is about gathering people's opinions or feelings, those the soft stuff, and it turns it into sort of quantifiable measurements. So that might be something that's worthwhile. Resources are a big thing as well. Look, I'm not a big fan of testing people's knowledge of quality. I think that's because it's going to be different dependent on what your job is and what it means. And I don't like the word test. It makes me cringe even thinking about it. That's why I like using the word. It's a check-in.
I think testing someone, and we know that from being trainers, that as soon as you start testing someone, and we do it ourselves, their knowledge, skills, and experience all can go in a bucket because they're nervous, they're anxious, and what they actually do know. Like, we've had some people who have done years and years and years of auditing, and they get in to do their assessment with us for an opening meeting, and they forget what their name is.
Yeah.
So as soon as you imply that you're testing someone, that it does make things difficult. But as you said, there are other ways and better ways. Their performance, their output, their motivation, their inspiration, their engagement, all of those sorts of things are better ways to observe someone's understanding of policies and procedures.
That's right. That's right. And that's why I was thinking it's more about check-ins, like go and do, follow what they're doing and understand why they do it and how they do it, which is essentially an audit. But I'm not using that word. It's just, engaging with them essentially, okay, without having that pressure. And I know the word I've used is conduct regular assessments, but, it's just about reviewing where we're at. And really what's happening here is we're not testing or reprimanding our workers. We're actually testing our quality culture of the organisation. We're looking backwards at ourselves and go, okay, are the things that I'm implementing making a difference? Are the behaviours that I'm changing as a leader making a difference? And the only way to check that is with the people that, are working with us. So it's not a performance review on our workers. It's a check-in to see how the leaders are doing and that business is doing. It's that look back. I think that's a key element with this. Completely different, I guess, to looking at the system as an audit. I guess it's still about the organisation, but yeah, I suppose you need to make that clear in this step that it's not about checking up on you. You're okay. Okay, you're okay. You've just got to help us get there and give me feedback on what I need to do.
Yeah. Help me help you.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And to be like that, Kelly, though, we need to be open to hearing feedback as well.
Which is exactly where I was leading. I've got my trusty piece of paper in front of me because I am old school. We've got quite a few people who are still in their probationary phase, and we've got someone's probation check-in today. And again, that's not a you haven't done all right, you are doing. Do you deserve to stay with us? That is what have you seen, experienced? We did one a few weeks ago. And then there were improvements identified in that. And this has become more about the culture. Where do you feel that we could have supported you? Do you feel supported in your training, onboarding, etc.? Are there skills or experiences that we need to provide you additional support? There's one here, I love this. What aspects of your role and or team dynamics have you found the most engaging or challenging? So again, that's how do you fit into that culture? And it's a new person's insight as to the business culture. And look, thankfully for us, this is positive, but there is an improvement in there. This is something that I'm struggling with, and I don't know how to do that. So again, making what are traditionally performance reviews about the person, not just about the person, making it about their impact and their role and not their role, but their
role
engaged in the team. How they contribute. Their contribution is probably the word I was looking for.
I like that word. Yeah.
How they contribute to the team.
Yeah, because that's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want. And if they're not contributing,
why?
And again, it's not again, this is a saying I like all the time. If there's one finger pointing at someone, you've got three pointing back at you. So always
exactly what this is doing.
Yeah. So, it's well, why aren't they contributing? How can we understand this? And that all feeds into the culture. Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, don't just like an audit. It's not about the people. It's about the process in that. Well, it is about the people, but not about pointing fingers at the people. It is about
It's not placing blame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really important. Okay. Let's move on.
Okay. So I have combined the fourth and fifth. So the fourth and fifth activity that's important to the quality culture development cycle is to set clear targets. So that's based on your metrics, assessments, measurable targets. That probably feeds into those establishing those quantifiable metrics as well. So you could, again, increase employee-initiated quality improvements by 20% over the next year. So you can see how that links to that second one. And then the fifth one is, I've just said it, link it to the business outcome. So connect your metrics for culture to your tangible business outcomes. So your customer satisfaction scores, defect rates, and so on. So I have sort of hinted at that throughout. With this cycle, it's using the structure still of ISO 9001, but I'm using that structure to give us something tangible around culture as well. And by doing that, it does link to the business outcomes naturally. It's all integrated. And as you said before, Kelly, that's a light bulb moment I had in the last few months is, our goal shouldn't just be, we need to get X amount of enrollments. Well, that's just pie in the sky stuff. It's, well, what's behind that? That's those goals. And it's all about the customer. It's all about the experience. And the enrollments will come. Like you've got to work backwards. So, and well, it does work backwards, but you've got to start from there, and then it will produce that end outcome that you're looking for. So it benefits the business.
And I love this story because it's proof of the pudding, really. We had that epiphany, and then we had an assessment with one of our customer service team, and they identified a gap in our business, and that was we don't have a sales department. And both Jackie and I went, brilliant. We don't want a sales team. We want a customer service team. The fact that you are selling courses and you are not a salesperson means that we are achieving our goals.
Yeah.
So again, it's the fact that they didn't identify themselves as a salesperson. I'm not going out and hunting and gathering and harassing and all that. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want you to not do. We want you to support people, ask them questions, give them solutions, offer them options, alternatives.
That's all it is. It's it's people coming to us with a problem, and then we have to see, well, do we have something that can help them? That's it. If we don't have something that can help them, well, then we
find someone who can.
Well, that's right. I was going to say, we know plenty of people. We could possibly point them in the right direction. But that's right. It's I don't see it as sales. It's just sharing our solutions.
Yeah. So again, prove that you don't like that positive culture. That person didn't realize that really what they were doing and how they had it,
I know.
and that reflected the success of their passion, their inspiration, their role, their support, their the culture. They hadn't really clicked to that yet. So again, it was a light bulb moment for us. Well, you think that we're lacking this. We think that we know that we're not, because if we didn't have a sales team, we wouldn't have students. But again, that for us was an opportunity to remind this person of everything that we have just said. You're not going out and actively selling this. You are reporting, and that's our culture.
No. It's not that old school cold calling, knocking on doors stuff.
Yeah. So that was a really nice little, we've changed our mindset to the point that our team have embraced that without even realising that that's what they've done.
Yeah.
So a good
example. Awesome. Okay. The final one. The final, the sixth activity that's important to the quality culture cycle is creating a cultural dashboard. So we need something that's visual, that shows these culture metrics. You update it regularly or real time, so you can see where or if, the extent to which you're making progress. So you're making it visible. The people involved in it are engaged as well. So, you can make it look pretty. You're very good at doing that, Kelly. So, don't just use raw data or numbers. You can use colours and charts, etc., just to show where, how we're tracking. There's so much data within your business. And that example I gave you before, Kelly, would be good to know who in the team puts forward the most improvement opportunities. Where is there a gap? Like, wouldn't that be great to see that and go, there's so much behind the scenes in, and I'll pinch your word, contributing to the quality culture.
Just had a real aha moment. I read these newsletters every week, multiple times, because I'm proofing them, and then they land in my inbox and I read them again without my proofreading hat on. And I completely missed this and the opportunity that's just gone ding in my head. You can have all of this, and we do have all of this, but only you and I can see this. We have the place surveys. That was my, oh, hang on a second. We have the pulse surveys. We have the results. Again, we tell the team all of the time it's anonymous, and we say, look, we're tracking great. This is wonderful, blah, blah, blah. Because we are, but we don't share that dashboard with them.
No, it needs to be
shared. We don't, all of this is here. Again, we talk about, we say we're not focused on enrollments, but that's what we talk about in our weekly meetings. How are we tracking on enrollment?
That's our weekly report.
That's flipping this afternoon. Thankfully, that's where my head is. But again, like, we have all of this information and it's there in dashboards all over the place. So I think that was the mindset when I was reading this. But this is, to quote Jackie and I, say it out loud and you'll hear it differently.
Yeah.
As we're doing this, having this conversation, all of those little light bulbs, you, as a leader, you have access to all this information. But if you want your team to jump on board with the culture and the engagement, share the information.
Absolutely. Get them excited, like, net promoter scores, all of that information. Yeah. Why is it being hidden?
Yeah. Why is that not our login dashboard every morning instead of this? Me inquiring every night. Oh,
that's
sorry,
right.
team.
I can give you the answer, but I'm not allowed to say that in public.
I don't know.
There's other people involved.
And again, like, all of these things, and this is why it's really important as a leader to have these conversations and be comfortable doing that with your team, because yes, we've got a bigger team this year, but we're not really seeing much difference in our inquiries. We're seeing a big improvement in our communication and our customer service, and that's what's translating for us into those sales. Inquiry numbers haven't gone up, the support has gone up. Why aren't we celebrating that? Sorry, this has just become a Jackie and Kelly meeting rather than a podcast.
That's what happens. But you're right. You've just demonstrated what I said with working backwards.
Yeah.
But now we're at the sixth element, and it's about sharing. And because I can already see that if I see it, I'm going to get excited. But I know I'm a unique snowflake. But I'm sure others will go, and that they it drives it. And so you do have to be careful of competition, which is not what we're talking about. It's a bit higher level than that. But it is showing it as the overall team and the outcomes.
Yeah. You know what's fun? I just had another aha moment then.
I could tell that by the look on your face.
The team members that are really passionate about ATOL, or have been really passionate about ATOL and get excited and get engaged and want to do this, and I've got this idea, and they're the people that can see this information. The people that can't see this information,
they're going blind, Kelly.
Yeah, they don't have access to this. So they're still excited, but they can't be as excited.
Yeah, because what are they getting excited about?
Yeah. Oh, our team is going to be so excited. We're all going to need, I don't know, rocks on our ankles.
I'm glad this has been helpful for you.
Oh,
no, that's a great light bulb moment, actually. Yeah, the visibility, and that's the word I used, I think, in the last one. Create that dashboard, but it is about the visibility of it, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got them. We've got dashboards to Timbuktu. Just not everyone can see them.
But not everyone can see it. Yep. And dashboards, in their very nature, it's all together. Like, it's one thing that I have to actually go and click and look. It's great to have a dashboard that is just in your face, and it's all compiled.
doesn't need to be big and fancy, expensive. I just had a wine about 20 tabs I had to click through. Make your first tab a dashboard summary of all your 20 tabs. We've done that with some of our other teams.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of we were talking about Napkin a couple of weeks ago, Napkin AI. So many tools out there that you can just dump your data and it'll make something inspiring for your team.
Yeah. And if we've got it, and I know this has turned into a Jackie and Kelly thing, like we're already meeting as a team every Monday at muster. It can just be shared there. Yeah. Done. Okay. Like Kelly and I have solved the world's problems. Maybe not the world's problems, but, we've improved the quality culture at ATOL just by talking out loud about this. We thought we were doing okay, but as always, we can always do better. And that's something that Kelly and I have discovered. So just to wrap things up and summarize, remember Kelly and I went through the 6 activities that are important to the quality culture development. It's the defining your cultural indicators. So that's your future focus. What do you want your quality culture to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Then establish some metrics that are quantifiable. Then you can conduct some check-ins to see, okay, how are we going? What's our current state? You can set those clear targets as well, which sort of goes in line with quantifiable metrics. So clear targets are measurable. So what do you want to achieve and by when? And of course, these link to the overall business outcomes. So the system, the strategy of the organisation. And then ultimately, we need to see it. It needs to be visible. Create a dashboard where people can see what these metrics and targets are that you've set and how are we tracking, where are we at? And that in itself will open up opportunities. So as always, before I hand it back to Kelly, I'd like to close with staying curious. We've done that this time. And always lead the standard. By staying curious and leading the standard, you'll continually find new opportunities for growth and excellence in your career.
Thank you, Jackie. That's a wonderful way to wrap up today's episode of Lead the Standard. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Welcome to our brains. Thank you for putting up with all of our ideas. I am going to go find pen and paper and jot all of those down. I do hope somebody else or all of you really are walking away with some actionable ideas for your own quality culture so that too can stand the test of time. Remember, it's not just about passing audits. It is about fostering that mindset where quality is everyone's responsibility and everyone's passion, where continual improvement is part of the daily rhythm. So next week, we're going to be diving into the 5 questions that will transform your ISO 9001 audits. Another episode packed with insights to help you dig deeper, get real and meaningful results from your audits. So do make sure you join us. Thank you again. As Jackie said, stay curious, keep pushing the boundaries, and always lead the standard. We will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.